So this is what I came up with it last year in developing what I think is the way in which we can be in harmony or having this harmonics as a constant, as an optimal level in which we as humans can operate. And so I want to go through these three pillars, if you will. And so we have our mental and emotional bodies. And this is where I think the head heart coherence exists. It exists in our mind, it exists in our heart. Um, I know we've talked about this before. We even can say that this head heart coherence goes all the way down to another mind that we have, which is the gut. And there's a lot of talk right now about how to work through our gut, which is another brain, if you will. It acts as our intuitive compass a lot of times. And a lot of times we feel our emotions in our gut, right? But this, this going through our head all the way to our heart and even through our gut, what's in the middle is our heart. And our heart has the ability, and they even, I mean, latest science has done a lot of research on measuring what the heart coherence actually vibrates or the sound waves, and it's over 3 meters long, just based on some of the most extraordinary technology that can measure how big a heart coherence that we have, meaning that, outside of our physical body, we have these layers of energy, these auric fields that have electromagnetic pull to it. And when we're feeling really in tune with whether it's another person, whether it's ourself, maybe we're in nature and our heart expands, there is a measurement that it can expand up to 3 meters or even more. I would say that, our heart really has no boundaries, in my personal opinion. But I think it's a really interesting thing to think about.
Is this
Um,
a quick
yeah,
question? Is this
yeah.
field that we create, is this what contributes to when you meet and interact with people and you're like, oh, I got a good vibe from that person. I like their vibe. I like their energy. Is that what we're picking up on, do you think?
Absolutely. I think that we are able to non-visually see and feel another person instantly when we trust that what we're feeling is accurate. I think we've talked about trust a lot in the past, and what does our intuition say? And we're really just starting to dive deeply into the teaching of how do we trust our intuition? What does that look like? And so I would totally, that's an affirmative on my end. I mean, when we meet someone, we could be like, wow, I feel like I know you, even though we've never met, or I really feel like there's this wonderful synergy. But at the same time, we can meet someone and have a real strong um, adversity to them. And that's also our intuition saying, hey, this is not necessarily a good fit for you energetically, whether it's a person, a situation, a decision that we're making in our life. Maybe it's a job decision, maybe it's a move, maybe it's a new house, maybe it's a whatever it is, right? That we can feel when something feels right or if it feels off. So, great question.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, the second pillar is what I call the physical and the physiological. It's the science and body, it's the physical construct, if you will, that I almost paradoxically is not even a construct because we're made of mostly water. Everything that we are is energy. There's more space in between our cells than there are you know, what do they say? There's the space that's in between our cells is as vast as we are to our closest solar system outside of the Milky
Yeah.
Way. So it's,
99% empty space, basically.
right, exactly. This is empty space. And so the way I see this whole body harmonics is to be able to understand that physiologically things happen innately within our body intelligence, and our physical symptoms, whether those are consequences to what we're thinking and feeling that don't feel good, as well as positive, because consequences is actually a neutral term, even though it's typically used to describe something that is uncomfortable or a dis ease of some kind. But there could be positive consequences. So when we are really and understand, I think, and I'm so happy that science and spirituality have really started to merge back together, but they have been so far apart for so long, that we now understand what's happening in our body from a cell regeneration perspective, knowing that new cells that are being reproduced, which happens every second of our waking and non-waking life, um, that it is based on what we are feeling the most. So new cells are being produced based on the peptides and the docking station, if you will, of the peptides, which are our emotions. So if we're not feeling positive, if we feel depression, if we feel anger, depression, or anxiety, we're going to produce more cells that are going to mimic that versus the previous cells that had died off.
So we
And
get
so
more,
this,
we
yeah,
get
go ahead.
more of what we feel, right? The more,
We reproduce and rebirth what we think and feel inside at a cellular level, which I just think is so cool.
yeah.
And then talking about from a neural plasticity, a neurological perspective, we now know that our neural pathways continue. Those are the habits that we know and believe in, or trust, or are trying to break out of. And we know that when those neural pathways fire together, they stay together. But when we change a habit, when we're able to create new patterns, those neural pathways actually disconnect, and there are new neural pathways that come together. There's some really cool demonstrations of that, actually, I think you can find on YouTube.